Hey, this is Meredith Elliott Powell, and you know what time it is. It is 9 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning. Mark Hunter and I are actually live in person.
I can touch Meredith. Well, I can touch Meredith. It's amazing. Wow.
We're hanging out in Nashville, Tennessee. We're at the National Speakers Association annual conference, which is going to be an amazing event. But today we're here to talk about sales logic. So, Mark, tell them where we're hanging out today.
We are hanging out at the Gaylord Hotel, which I guess is connected to Opryland. I'm not into that. I'm not informed enough, but I will learn that later. Anyway, it's 3 days of really engaging, learning, networking. We're going to be connecting with a lot of our peers and knowledge. This is what flows out of this knowledge and networking. But right now, we're here. We're here. Sales Logic. So
do you know how important I think it is to invest in yourself and do logic? Mark, I should be on the golf course right now. A bunch of our buddies are playing golf, and I passed it up to go to an event held by Nito Quabain today. That's
Dr. Nito Quabain, President, High Point University.
Yeah, that's how important it is to reinvest in yourself. So how about we, I don't know, hit the video, start the show.
Let's go, because it's
prospect with integrity. We will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
This is Sales Logic. I'm Meredith Elliott Powell, coming to you live from Nashville, Tennessee, hanging out with my partner here, Mark Hunter. We have a great show for you today. And before Mark walks you through what we're going to talk about, I love the fact that the chat is already up, active, and going, right?
And we both get to see it right here live because we're in person. So this is great. I love it.
Exactly. So this is the way the show works. I mean, the audience already knows. Get active, get involved in the chat. If you have a question, put it up there, or always reach out to us at saleslogicpodcast.com. Every week we come to you, we cover a hot topic, we recommend a book, and you walk away with a lightning round, things that you can put into place first thing, Sunday morning, right?
There you go. Because, hey, we never stop selling.
Never.
I mean, you were just before the show sending an email to a potential, or actually to a client. I was on a call this morning already. So, hey, we never stop working. So the show, hey, the title, the topic, is sales an art or a science? Think about that. Is sales an art or a science? And the question comes from Lisa from LA. She says, my sales team is struggling. They have all the tools they need. They know what to do, or at least I think they do. And yet there's only one person on my team that's even coming close to making quota. What should I do?
Well, I think the clue lies in the fact that you think you know your team, that your team knows what to do. You know, so often we think about coaching and about leading as about teaching people or bringing them to a meeting and hearing what they're doing. I think the first step that our listener needs to do today is go out and watch their team in action, because so often you have the science of sales, right? You have the tools, you have the information you need, you've even acquired the skills, but putting them into practice, that's where it gets a little bit messy. There isn't an actual formula to sales. I don't ask 5 questions and then go for the close. Every customer is different. So if you have people who are struggling to hit quota, you need to kind of watch them in action. If you're somebody who's struggling to hit quota, go get a friend and have them watch you do a sales call and give you some feedback.
You know, there's something interesting in what you said. Go out on a sales call with them and see that happen. In fact, I had this come up this week in a conversation. And this one person said, oh, wow, he does a great job on sales calls. And yet his numbers, his results stink. Absolutely terrible. So what I'm going to challenge is I want to go out on that. But I then want to come back and I want to query that salesperson, begin asking them questions. Hey, what have they found out here? What have they found? And if they don't have answers to those questions on customers they've been talking to, then you know what? I hate to say it, but they were just blowing smoke when I went out on a sales call with them. And let's not kid ourselves. There are some people who can put on a good show for their boss when they have to. I want to see the show, okay, but I want to verify the show by asking them deep, insightful questions after the fact on other customers, other things. And if they don't have answers, then I'm calling into question everything they do.
We used to call those, back in the day when I was a sales leader, we used to call those howdy doody calls. We'd have the chairman coming into town, and you go to those customers, love you, have bought from you, and there's going to be no resistance or no challenge there. And a howdy doody call is nothing more than a howdy doody. You're not going to make any more money. You're not going to sell any more products, because either the customer has told you no 1,000 times, or they're already so bought in. There's not much left to do with them. The thing that I think about that is that this is your time. And you want to go out on a call, and there can be nothing more frustrating than going through the exercises, doing the skills, doing the science of sales, but you're not closing it because you don't understand the art. And that's where you need the support, and that's where you need the help.
Well, and see, this is where too many tools begins to confuse. So many organizations, well, we just add this tool, we just add this little thing, we just do this, everything's going to be perfect. And again, I can put 100 tools into a toolbox, and it doesn't make the person carrying the toolbox any better. Sorry, it does not work. You have to really dig down under. Here's the thing. I'm going to take results that I get out of tools and reports and so forth, whether it be Salesforce or whatever CRM system you happen to be using. But I got to query. I got to ask the questions behind the question. It's no different than sales. Think about it. Because a customer tells you something, you don't accept it at face value, you drill down on it. Same thing as a sales manager.
Yeah, and I think I think it is so telling if a sales manager says, I think I know what my team is doing, or knows what to do. It tells me that sales manager isn't spending enough one-on-one time. 1,000 years ago, I was in an aerobics class. That's how long ago it was back when you took aerobics.
Did they have aerobics back then? Okay, yeah, right. I'm just checking.
Anyway, and I was in the back of the room, and I was kind of cheating. I wasn't really doing the exercises.
Wait a minute, hold it. Mayor cheating at exercises.
Yes,
I'm finding this hard to believe.
Anyway, but my girlfriend said to me, she said, you better do something. The teacher's going to say something to you. And the teacher overheard her saying that to me. And the teacher said, no, I'm not. I don't really care. This is her hour. And if she wants to waste it, that's fine with me. And that has so stuck with me. So if you're out there and you're not hitting your sales goal, you have to divide it between behaviors you need to do, skills you need to have, and then the art of the sales call. And all three pieces need to be hitting in order to do a sales call effectively. Now, you can define the behaviors pretty much by yourself. You can learn the skills by tuning into Sales Logic, taking a class, doing whatever you need to do. But I think when it comes to the art of the sales call, you really need to be partnering up with somebody and having them give you some feedback on what you did well. I'm just going to add, because I know you're chomping at the bit to get in here, but it's kind of like, no, I'm with you guys this week for we're going to mastermind. And I really think like my keynote is good, but I need more feedback. I think it can be better, but I don't know what would take it up another level. So I want the three of you to weigh in on it for that very reason. The sales call is the same.
See, this is so much what we're talking about is you can benchmark this and you can score this and you can rank this, but it's those little nuances that actually take things to the next level. Now, here's another piece that I'm going to throw in. It's that emotional attitude. Emotional and attitude. Are those the same words? No, those are different words, because here's where I'm going with this. I can have a good attitude, but emotionally, am I in the game to understand the customer? Here's where I'm going with this. I find so many times what happens is salespeople will look at the call records. Oh, this customer doesn't have anything to offer. There's going to be nothing there. And I remember I took over a territory one time, and my boss said, there's no call records. There's no call records. And I went in that territory and I found all kinds of business. He came back to me later. He said, there were call records. And the person before you had put in all negative stuff. And he said, if I had allowed you to see those records, you would have viewed that there's no business to be had here. Instead, you went out and scored, made major success. See, so it's this emotional approach that you take. Can I find opportunities? Yes. Now, I got to have the right attitude. The attitude is, Am I willing to put the customer first?
Yeah.
Am I willing to sit there and say, I'm going to listen to the customer and what they're sharing with me? And then I build from there.
Yeah. I think, I love this question of is sales an art or a science? Because I'm guessing that you kind of agree with me. It's really both.
Mhm.
I mean, you have to be able to master both. I mean, sales would be so ridiculously easy if every customer were exactly the same. If you always got in the door the same way, if you always established rapport the same way. And the first piece I really believe you need to master is the science of it. You need to have the skills. You need to define the behaviors. And I don't care how good a salesperson you are, you need to have a process. Because even if you're blowing your goal out, you could be doubling that goal if you had a process. But then, I just wrote a blog this past week and shot a video on the importance of the role play. And I was talking with our good friend Sherry Leviton. She and I went for a big walk yesterday morning about role playing. And I was likening it to playing tennis because I'm new to tennis and I have a process for tennis. I take a lesson, I hit on the ball machine, I play in a match. And the ball machine and the lesson are kind of my role play. I get some instruction from my coach, and then I go try to work it out and nail it down. And then I put it into a match to see if I could do it. If you want to be good at anything, you have to practice. And you need people to give you feedback and input on it.
See, and you're only going to do that if you have the right attitude.
Right.
Because again, otherwise it's simply not. So here's the whole thing. I think sales is both art and science.
Me too.
Here's the thing. It's art based on science. In other words, I'm going to use the science, and that's the tools, and that's all the other pieces I have. But it's how I apply it, because here's what I've seen so many times. It is so easy to take a CRM system or anything, and you begin to extrapolate data, and you begin to, these are the trend lines. Well, no trend sustains itself forever. Again, there's always factors involved. That's the art. That's the art that I bring to it in terms of the conversation I'm having. Now, let's stop and think about this for a moment from the sales manager standpoint. Are you more focused on the science of what your salespeople are doing, or are you more focused on the art of what your salespeople are doing?
Good question.
Think about that one.
Such a good question. All right, I'm going to answer that because I got a lot to say about it. But I want to draw your attention to, I love what Dave Sanderson said here. It said, think about the fact that customers are inviting you to their home, so you need to bring them something of value. I just love this. Kind of like when you go to somebody's house for dinner, you bring them a gift. I love that because Dave, you've nailed this, is you're just walking in thinking, how can I make this better for them? And I love Adam's comment here too. Sales is both art and science because it requires hard skills, the technical knowledge and expertise, and soft skills, the finesse and the style. Finesse is such a great word around it. We've also got our friend Donald Kelly here.
Oh man, everybody's jumping. We're going to see him at Outbound in September.
Yeah, we've got Bryn Tillman here today. Said love the real world examples. You guys make it so simple to relate and make the change. So Mark, boy, you have said something really powerful here. As a sales manager, are you more focused on the science or are you more focused on the art? What a good question, because we have all worked for sales managers who all they did was focus on the science, or those that ignored the science and all they did was focus on the art. As a sales manager, you better be focusing on the salesperson in front of you and paying attention to which part of their process is either broken or which part could get better. And I want to say broken or could get better because maybe you have a phenomenal salesperson up under you. You can improve their sales performance by working with them on both art and science. I love sales. You never master it.
You never master it. And this is what I would say. Bad sales managers focus on the science. They're the spreadsheet jockeys.
Yeah.
Great sales leaders focus on the art because they know it's the emotional interaction with the customer, whether that be face-to-face, on the phone, whether it be a video call, whether that be a text message, email, whatever. But it's that emotional interaction that occurs because here's what happens. It changes how we listen and it changes how we respond.
Yeah. And I'm going to counter that just a little bit because I think a great sales leader focuses on both the art and science. Years ago, I got hired to come into a financial institution that was exceeding their goals. I'd met their CEO at an event. She had listened to me talk about sales, and I'm a big believer that I don't care how good you are, it can go another level. And financial services is one of those industries that I think it's such a beautiful thing to sell because everybody cares about their money. So she hired me to come in and work with her sales team, and they were really good. I mean, they owned the market, but they had no process. And she didn't feel like they needed a process because they were all exceeding their goals. Number one, I said, if you're exceeding your goals are too low. And number two, if you don't have a process, we can't figure out how to do better at it. I mean, I'll go back to athletes. Athletes have a way they work out. They have a way they train because that's how they can measure the increase in their performance. So a great sales leader is going to ensure that the science is in place and then is going to layer the art on top of it.
Now, I'm going to add something because I was reviewing a salesperson's quarterly business plan this morning. And this person laid out a plan. But I'll tell you what, there's no way it's going to get executed. Because as you read through the plan, you can tell that the person's attitude sucks, point blank. And they're not engaged with their customers. So this is what I think. I think it is possible for salespeople to fake their way through the science part.
I agree.
But you can't fake your way through the art.
I would definitely agree with that. We've got Albert here that says, good morning. He's from Washington, D.C. Putting the customer first. If this sales advice was followed completely, many closed shopping malls would still be open. So true, right? Absolutely. I think that you can fake your way through the science, but a good and a great sales leader can do that. All you have to do is have a conversation. The moment that I ask you about the sales calls you made last week, I can tell whether they were howdy-doody or they were real. But Mark, here's my bigger thing. And I think this is so important for any audience member who's listening to us. If you are making howdy-doody calls, if you are not making serious sales calls, if you are not making sure this person is in your target market, if you're not personalizing the message, you are wasting your own time. I don't care how many tick marks you send me. But I was thinking this yesterday morning. Like I said, Mark and I have been at convention and I've been in a board meeting for the last couple of days. And literally I was in meetings from 8 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night last night. But I had to make my two sales calls because that's my process. Yesterday morning, I got up. I'm like, who am I going to call? And I almost made a howdy-doody call. I almost spent like, those people are never going to hire me. But if I just do this, I can tick the box. But I stopped myself because I thought that is wasting my time.
It's wasting their time too.
Yeah, exactly. Right. But at this moment, I was concerned about mine.
Right. Okay. Now you talk about howdy doody calls. I got to tell you what we used to call. We used to call it radio calls.
Okay, great.
Radio calls was when you pulled into a customer's parking lot and there was a song on the radio. You went in and talked to them, came back out, and that same song was still on the radio. That was a radio call. So anyway,
that's great.
But here's this whole thing. So your science, so to speak, was making two calls.
Yeah, exactly. That was my science.
But see, without the art of saying, okay, I'm going to engage. This is what I see so many salespeople going through the actions. Oh, I made 25 dials today, or I sent out 50 email, yada, yada, yada.
Who cares?
Who cares? Now, activity does create results. No ifs, ands, buts about. But is the activity anchored around, and I'm going to use this term, emotional connection with the customer? In other words, have you put the customer first?
Yeah, and have you thought about the activity? I love the fact that you said activity produces results, because activity could produce a negative result. If I'd have sent that email yesterday morning at 6:30 in the morning, I would have gotten no response. That's a result, but it was a waste of my time. It was a waste of their time. You can have science with sales, but it needs to be good science. Like, don't make a call on somebody that isn't in your target market. Don't make a call on somebody that you haven't identified there's a need there. Don't make a call on somebody where you don't know something about their business or something about their issues and challenges. And my goodness, don't make a call if you don't think you can help them. Don't make a call because there's a quota. You have to make 20 calls a day. Make good science combined with great art is going to amazing results.
But see, this comes back to, why are you doing this? I believe you and I have the same attitude about sales. Sales is about helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. And when you truly believe in the outcome you're going to help your customer achieve, boom, you're going to make it happen. That's the difference between just picking up the phone and making the call versus saying, I know I can help this person. Because the calls I make, I know I can make a difference with that person. That's why I want to make that call.
Yeah, I mean, Bryn has said this so well here. Listen to understand rather than listen to respond.
Wow.
That's really huge, because typically what you're thinking in your mind is me next, me next, me next, right? All you want to do. But if you can just listen to understand, because when we focus on the response, it's about us making the sale, not solving a problem. That's right. I mean, the beautiful thing about sales is that I think it is human nature to sell, because what we do with sales is I listen to Mark. He tells me all the challenges he's having, and then I'm trying to figure out how to help him. That's a basic human desire to want to help other people. And where I think sales training or sales leaders get derailed is we tend to make sales about the company, and we tend to make sales about the goals that we need to hit. Those are going to happen. The company will grow. What I love too is that sales is the perfect storm. If I listen to people, if I help people, the byproduct of that is I hit my goals and my company grows. It's just the beautiful way it works.
There are always opportunities out there if we take the time to listen. Hey, time is slipping away from us.
It is.
Wow. Hey, the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm sure you got a copy in your bookshelf.
I not only have a copy in my bookshelf, every single coaching client I have, I require they read How to Win Friends and Influence People, written in the 1930s.
This book has been around forever, but How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And you know what's funny is I'll run into somebody in their 20s and they say, hey, have you heard of this book?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I've kind of read it probably 50 times.
Yeah. It's such a good book, but it was really back to the nature and back to you care and you invest in other people, and they will 100% invest in you.
Hey, we got something that we want to invest in people, and that's the event on July 20th, right?
Yeah, you need to mark your calendars from 12 to 2 Eastern on July the 20th. Mark and I are going to be coming to you live in studio, and we are going to We're going to be focusing on really the sales process from a leadership perspective. So we're going to share with you, we're going to break down the whole sales process for you. So if you're a solopreneur, you're going to want it. But if you're a sales manager, you're going to want to really do it. We got a whole series of questions that we're going to be walking. There's going to be a 2-hour session. So we're going to really take sales logic and go deep. But anyway, we'll put the link into the notes here. So you'll be able to get registered for it because you're going to want to get registered for it. But anyway, hey, lightning round. Are you ready? Yes.
Put your hand on the table. Top 10 ways to put the art into sales.
Oh, number one way to put the art into sales is to listen.
Wow. Number 2 is to query everything that you hear from customers.
Put the art into science by making sure you have great questions to ask.
Understand the person personally, not just professionally.
Yeah, if you want to put the art into science, you need to have done your research.
Allow yourself to be exposed. In other words, you have to be a little bit vulnerable yourself to allow your emotions to come through if you want your people to be able to share with you their emotions.
I think to put the art into sales, you need to be approachable and you need to be likable. Really believe people are connecting to your energy.
Never forget that you can't motivate anyone. All you can do is create an environment for people to motivate themselves.
Be okay helping people, whether it's with your product or service or connecting them to somebody else who could help them better than you.
Never stop and think, or never stop and conclude that, oh, this is the person is the best they can be. Every person has at least 50% more upside if you're willing to coach them.
Yeah, if you want to put the art into sales, ask people to give you feedback, ask people to watch, be committed to getting better.
I'm going to share one more. You share one more. We'll close it down. Hey, wake up every morning with one desire to help every person you come into contact with to be able to influence and impact the people they come in contact with better.
And I want to say the number one way to focus on the art of sales is to forget about the close. Just forget about it. Focus 100% on helping the person in front of you. Trust the journey, and you're going to close more deals. All right, Mark.
Hey, this has been another episode of Sales Logic, live in person from Nashville and the Gaylord Hotel. If we have said anything that you like, hey, please give us a review, because your reviews really help tell others that it's a show we should listen to. Hey, if we've helped you earn a single dollar, hey, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, check out our websites, and get registered for July 20th. We'll put the link in here, because I'll tell you what, when you do all that, you have got sales logic. You got sales logic?
I got sales logic. That's right. I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
I'm Mark Hunter.
And we will see you right here at 9 a.m. Eastern, Saturday morning, this time next week. You are an amazing audience. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate your comments, how engaged that you are. Reach out to us on saleslogicpodcast.com. Send us your topics. Tomas asked us about getting a transcript of this. If you just go to iTunes and to Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
They do transcribe it. Yep.
They transcribe it. You can get everything there. You can also pull the transcription off of YouTube. All right, we got to go hit this conference. Invest in our learning. Hope you're going to invest in yours. Close a lot of deals this week. We'll see you right here this time next week. Bye-bye.
Great selling.